Hi everybody, welcome back. This is week 3 of distance learning. Hope everyone's doing great. I'm going to show you another part of factoring today. And this week we're going to focus just on the special types. We're going to do, if you watch the factoring video, or if you've kind of gone ahead, or if you've kind of done factoring before, maybe some of you have, then you're probably wondering, well, where is the one with the number in front? Where's the one with this like 4x squared minus 5x plus 10? We will do that next week. So I'm going to just do this little by little, baby steps going forward here, baby steps. And what we're going to do is just show you some of the, what I'm going to do is just show you some of the special types today. And what you need to do when you see the special type, and we're not going to do these by grouping. In fact, I'm not even sure how you can do these by grouping. This is what we call a special type. And what we're going to call these, this whole group, is the difference of two squares. And by the way, you might want to have your notes. This time I'm going to go right off the notes. I think last time it was a little confusing because I kind of made up my own problems and they were different from the notes. So this time I'm going to go right from the notes. So if you would make sure that you have a copy of these notes. If you don't have a printer, that's fine. Just copy these down somewhere and give these a try with me. If you have a printer and you were able to print out the notes, you might want to hit the pause button on the video and go ahead and print this page off. I'm going to be doing the notes from the attachment. There's been a lot of questions. Mr. Purdy, what do you want us to turn in? I'll tell you what I told my pre-algebra students too. Whenever there's a file that says HW in the file name, that's obviously homework. That's the one I want. You don't need to turn in the notes. The notes is just there to help you. The notes in the video are just there to help you. That's like the equivalent of going to class. And then I'll ask you to try the homework and then post that. And that will, if you do enough of those, that will give you extra points for your final grade. A couple reminders real quick. You're the fourth quarter or the third quarter. I'm closing it on May 5th. 5/5. Easy to remember. May 5th. Cinco de Mayo, actually. I'm closing the quarter. So if you don't like your grade for third quarter, you have any work you want to get turned in, you need to do that for me. If you don't have copies of it, just email me and I'll attach some copies via email for you. Next thing, I will be going live with live classes starting on Tuesday the 28th. So next week, I'll be doing live classes on Tuesday and Thursday now that we've kind of worked out some kinks with Blackboard. If Blackboard is down, you know the drill. If Blackboard is ever down, please go right to Google Classroom. That's kind of our backup. Okay, that's never going to go down. I just can't see Google ever going down. So I think we're going to be fine with that. Now I've got my dining room light shining right in this video. That's all right. I think you'll be able to see it. All right, what we have here is what's called, these are special types. This is what's called the difference. Difference is subtractions. These are all going to be minus of two squares. Any even exponent, and this is a 16. By the way, don't look at it as negative 16. Just look at the number. This is the difference, subtraction of two perfect squares. So when we factor it, we're going to go open two sets of parentheses. We're going to go x squared. So we're going to go x and x. Okay, and then we're going to go opposite signs. We want opposite signs because when we FOIL, we need to end up with a negative number. So we'll take the square root of 16. So you don't have to have factors of 16. Just take the square root. So we're going to go 4 and 4. See what happens when you FOIL the middle term. So you have 4x here and a negative 4x. So if you FOIL, the middle term will cancel out. And folks, that's why in this unit, every homework, everything we do is so important. It's building on each other. When we learned FOIL and distributive property a couple weeks ago, that's going to be how we check our answers. So we know that this is our answer, x plus 4, x minus 4. You could also put x minus 4 first and then x plus 4. That's fine. But make sure your signs are opposite each other. If they're the same signs, that's going to give you a linear term right in the middle here. We don't have a linear term. We have a quadratic and a constant. So this is a special type. Okay, a squared minus b squared, we can just bust these out. This is one that says once you get the hang of it, it's going to go really fast. So a squared is going to be a and a minus sign here, so opposite signs, so plus and minus. And then b squared, when you take the square root of that, it's just b and b. A plus b, a minus b. And this is what's called the difference of two squares. Okay, this is right off the notes. M squared minus 9, we'll open up our parentheses. M and M, M and M. Plus and minus. I just always like to put the plus sign first. That's just me. Plus and minus. Square root of 9 is 3. So 3 and 3. W squared minus 225. By the way, if these numbers here were not perfect squares, there's other ways you could factor these, and there's other ways you can get those two solutions. We'll talk about that later on. Okay, so W and W, plus and minus, the square root of 225. Remember, don't think of it as the square root of negative 225. I don't want you to come back and say, oh, you can't take the square root of a negative number. We're not talking about the sign here, just the number. So 225 is 15, so 15 and 15. And we're done. Okay. A couple of odds and ends here. Sometimes the number will come first and then the variable quadratic. That's okay. Not a big deal. What we're going to do is just put 16. The square root of 256 is 16, so we'll go 16 and 16. Once again, plus and minus, and then the two variables. Sometimes you'll have a number in front. Well, if that number is a perfect square, you're in great shape. Remember in the last video I said always try to factor something out. Well, you can't factor anything out here. But 4 and 25 are perfect squares. So what you do is everything's square root. So take the square root of 4, 2 and 2, x squared, x and x, plus and minus, and then 5 and 5. And we're done. Okay? All right, and once again, write off the notes here. Give me a second. I only bought one of these whiteboards home from my classroom. I should have bought a whole bunch of them. I could have had them all ready for you. All right, and we're also going to have to take a minute here, and let me just copy some of these down. So I'm just going to talk to you while I do this. 9 squared minus 64. I hope all of you, while I'm setting these up, I hope all of you are doing very well. The video will come back up, I promise you. I'm just copying some of these things down. I hope all of you are doing well. Your health is more important than any algebra, any SOL, anything at all. So please stay safe, stay healthy. Wonderful people. Okay. Back on. Sorry, I just have to copy from the notes, and so here we have our 6 more. And once you get rolling this, you can get rolling pretty quickly. Pretty good. Okay, open up your parentheses. Always ask. Difference is a difference. By the way, if this was a plus, you couldn't factor it. Okay, if this was a plus sign, even though these are perfect squares, you could not factor it. It has to be a minus sign because you have to have opposite signs for those linear terms to cancel. So now, open your parentheses. Is 9 a perfect square and is 64 a perfect square? Yes and yes. So 3 and 3, x and x, plus and minus, and then 8 and 8. And we're done. 3x plus 8, 3x minus 8. Okay, next one. 25x squared minus 81y squared. And again, just open up your parentheses. So square root of 25, that's a perfect square, so it's 81. So 5 and 5, x and x, plus and minus, 9 and 9, and now you have a y squared at the end. That's okay, no big deal. Just put a y here and a y here, and we're done. Okay, oh, these are not perfect squares, are they? But remember what I said. Always ask yourself, can I factor something out? Yes, you can. You can factor out a 2. A 2 will go into both of these. That's the greatest common factor for 8 and 18, and then an x. So we're going to take a 2x. We're going to factor out a 2x. This is when we really get into the nitty-gritty here. Okay, divide this by 2x. You're going to get 4x squared minus 9. And then we're going to have to factor this one more time. This is the difference of 2 squares. So now you're going to have 2x. Don't lose the 2x. That's part of your answer. Open up your parentheses. And what you'll have is 2 and 2, x and x, plus and minus, and 3 and 3. And we're done. Okay, same thing here. Okay, these are not perfect squares, but that's okay. 3 goes into both these numbers. So we're going to, and by the way, there's no x here, so you can't factor an x out. We can only factor a 3. So we're going to take a 3, factor it out, and we're going to go x squared minus 25. You should know that now. So 3, okay, open your parentheses, and you have x plus 5 and x minus 5. Okay. Trickier ones, but that's okay. We can do this. Think about this for the moment. 16 and 81. Yep, I'm going to factor a 2 out. 2 is actually the largest number that it's hard to believe. You'd think there'd be higher numbers that would go in the 32 and 162. It's actually 2. So we're going to factor a 2 out, and we're going to get 16x squared minus 81. Okay, so leave the 2. That's part of the answer. Okay, and then open up your parentheses, and what you're going to have is 4 and 4, x and x, plus and minus, and then 9 and 9, and we're done. By the way, you could check this by foiling this, foiling these 2 first to get this, then distribute the 2 to get this. Or you could distribute the 2 just to this one, and then multiply that answer times this one. This is like the associative property. The order you multiply all 3 of these does not matter. I would just FOIL that first to get that, and then distribute the 2 to get that. So that's how you would check some of the longer ones. Okay, by the way, same thing here. You would think that it'd be a larger number. It actually 3 goes into both of these. So 3, we're going to go 100x squared minus 121 y squared. I'm going to have to squeeze this in. Here, let me just erase. Let me just simply erase this. Good thing about a video is you've got it on video. All you have to do is pause it and rewind it. Okay, and then 3, and then open up your 2 parentheses. Gosh, I miss doing this in person with you all. 10, 100 is 10, so 10 and 10. X and X, plus and minus. 121 is 11, so 11 and 11, and then a Y and a Y. Lots of stuff squeezed in there. That's 10x plus 11y and 10x minus 11y. 10x plus 11y, and then 10x minus 11y. And we factor the 3 out here, and we're in good shape. Okay. Let's do this. Same idea. Give me some time here to erase this and set up the next part of this. The next special type is what we call a perfect square trinomial, and when we factor it, we're actually going to get a clone. So, give me a second here. The video is going to keep rolling, but just give me a second to set up this next little part here. Okay, and this is, again, right off the notes, and I'm just going to do this in kind of in pairs, or in groups of 6s, I think. I think 6 at a time. So, I will see you all, hopefully, live, online, next week. I haven't really liked the whole, hey, watch the video and try it, blah, blah, blah. I haven't liked that either. I have been wanting to work with you all. Live and in person, kind of, sort of. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. All right. On the back side of the notes, we have what we call a perfect square trinomial. Now, you can do this one of 2 ways. You can do this by grouping, like I told you last time. In fact, I'll show you grouping. Groupings actually would be a little tricky with this one. I'd actually stay away from grouping. What I would do is actually just, here's how you recognize a perfect square trinomial. If the first term, by the way, trinomial means 3 terms. So unlike the previous side of the notes, we had 2 terms. Now we have 3 terms. 1, 2, 3. If the first term and the last term are perfect squares, it's most like a perfect square trinomial. The middle term does not have to be a perfect square. One more time. If the first term is a perfect square and the last term is a perfect square, chances are you have a perfect square trinomial. And I'll explain that in a minute. The middle term does not have to be. So what you're going to do here is you're going to actually, when you factor, you're going to have a clone. So open up your parentheses. What you have is a squared, so a and a. Okay, last term is positive, so, and the middle term is positive, so 2 plus signs. And then the last term, you take the square root, so it's just b and b. Now, you probably have 1,000 questions here. Hang on, I'll see if I can answer them all. So when you FOIL, you have a squared. See how you FOIL, you have a squared? Now, where does the 2ab come from? Think about this. You have a times b, that's ab, and then b times a, that's also ab. So ab plus ab is 2ab, and then b times b is b squared. So it kind of takes care of itself. So perfect square trinomial, when you factor, you have a clone. You should have exactly the same thing. By the way, we did this the other way around a couple weeks ago. Remember, we did the special types. We factored, and the middle terms doubled. Okay, you have to look back at that if there's a question. All right, let's look at this one. Here's the question: Is this is the first term a perfect square? Yes. Is the last term a perfect square? 24 is not. It doesn't have to be. So now what you do is open your parentheses. Open two sets of parentheses. Okay, 16. The square root of 16 is 4. So 4 and 4. Okay, y and y. Okay, everything is positive here, so plus and plus. And the square root of 9 is 3. And we're done. So where's the 24 come in? Watch this. 4y times 3 is 12y. And then 4y times 3 is another 12y. 12y plus 12y is 24y. It works itself out. It really does. Oh, somebody might be having a question. Mr. Purdy, can we leave the answer like this? Could we, if it appears twice, could we just leave the answer like this? Sure, you absolutely could. Yep. Most people don't. Most people will just write it twice, but you may actually leave your answer like this also. All right, see if I sneak in a couple more of these real quick. I'm gonna have to, and I'll have to take another time out to just erase some and write some new ones. All right, is 9 a perfect square? Yes. Is 100 a perfect square? Yes. Okay, open your parentheses. 9. Square root of 9 is 3. So 3 and 3. A squared. So A and A. Okay, everything here is positive here. So plus and plus. Square root of 100 is 10. So 10 and 10. And then don't forget you got a b squared at the end. So just put a b here and a b here. Now remember, what you're going to get is 30ab plus 30ab. Just look at it carefully. You'll see it. 30ab plus 30ab. Remember, we always want alphabetical order. There's your 60ab. All right, I want to do a U try. We have not done this yet, so go ahead and give this a try. You might just want to pause the video. And give it a try, and then you can play it to your heart's content. I'm going to go ahead and just keep going, but you might want to just give this one a try. So I'm going to keep going. When I do the U tries anymore, I'm just going to keep going because I don't want the video. I don't want you to have a 45-minute video. That's just not good. Okay, should be 5x plus 4 and 5x plus 4. You got 20x plus 20x is your 40x, and everything else is fine. Okay, let me copy. Give me a second. Let me copy a few more problems here from your notes, and we will be in good shape. This would be a lot easier if I had a printer. My printer is non-existent right now. I thought about just going out and buying one or going back to my classroom to get one, but that's not going to work. So anyway, all right, let me finish with just a couple more here. I'm going to add, of course, a couple of U tries here. I'm not going to do every single one. There's a lot of these in the notes. I'm going to move on. Let's do one with a negative sign. I have a little bit of extra ones this time, and so I want to make sure that I want to cover, basically I want to cover what I'm supposed to cover and that kind of thing. So let's do, okay, 6xy plus 64y squared. Okay, back on. Here we go. All right, this one's a little different. Notice now the last term is positive, but the middle term is negative. So what we're going to have are two negative signs here. So open your parentheses. Always look at these signs. If the last term is positive, by the way, if this last term is negative, it's not a perfect square trinomial because you can't have the same signs. If the last term is negative, the signs have to be opposite mathematically. So x squared is x and x, minus and minus because the middle term is negative. You'll see when we FOIL. 36 is 6 and 6. See, when you FOIL, what you have is negative 6x and negative 6x. that becomes negative 12x. Okay, let's do another U try. Let's give this one a try here. Perfect square, nothing to factor out. Just open up your parentheses. Open up your parentheses, and let's do it. 9 is 3, so 3 and 3. X and x. 2 minus signs, because that middle term is negative. See, this is why FOIL is so important, because if you're iffy on the signs, you're not sure, FOIL is always your check. You go back and FOIL it at the end. If it doesn't work, then you made a mistake somewhere. So there you go, 3x minus 5 and 3x minus 5. So when you do the middle terms, you're going to get negative 15x and another negative 15x, and there's your negative 30x. Okay, let's make the numbers just a little bit bigger, and we'll throw in another variable. This is kind of what we do in honors. So let's just open up our parentheses, give myself lots of room here. Almost done, folks. Give me about 5 more minutes and we'll be done with this video. It's already 21 minutes. Boy, time flies when you're having fun. All right, 121 is 11 and 11. I really do miss you all. X and x. Last term is positive, so we're good. That's a perfect square. But the middle term is negative, so we have the 2 minus signs. And the signs are always the same when you do this section. Okay, 64 is 8 and 8, and then y and y. Well, how do you get this guy, Mr. Purdy? Well, let's see. Isn't that negative 88xy? Should be. Isn't that negative 88xy? Isn't that negative 88xy? When you double negative 88, you get negative 176. So it works. Okay, give me one more little pause here while I erase this. We'll do one more little section and then we're done. Remember, if Blackboard does not work, then we are going to go to Google Classroom. Please remember that. If Blackboard doesn't work, we're going to be going to Google Classroom. Okay, let me just give you 3 more. Again, I'm not going to do every single one on the notes. Sometimes in class, we don't do every single one anyway either, so. Okay, these are the ones, if I was in class, these are the ones I would say, if you can do these, then you can do it all, kind of thing. All right, I'll tell you what, the miscellaneous at the bottom, I'm going to conquer that. So I'm going to give you 2 more. The miscellaneous, I'm going to go ahead and conquer the miscellaneous the next time, because we have, I think we're doing like 3 or 4 weeks of factoring. So let's just focus on these 2. And like I would say in class, if you can do these, you can do it all. All right, 8 is not a perfect square, nor is 98. Okay, but remember what I said, factor something out. Factor something out. What is common to all 3 of these numbers? We can't throw an x out. We can't factor out. No x here. 8, 56, 98 is just going to be 2. Believe it or not, just 2. So we're going to factor 2 out. And what we're going to have is 4x squared plus 28x plus 49. Now remember, dividing everything by 2 because 2 is the common factor. Always look for a common factor. Okay, now perfect square trinomial. Perfect square, perfect square. Don't forget the 2. Open your parentheses. So square root of 4 is 2. So 2 and 2, x and x. Everything is positive, so plus and plus. 49 is 7 and 7, and you are done. And remember how to check it. You would FOIL this to get this. Watch my marker. You'd FOIL this to get just this. Then distribute the 2, and you'll get the original problem. Okay, last one, and then I'll stop. Okay, is there anything in common? Of course there is. There is a 3 in common. So we're going to factor a 3 out. We'll divide everything by 3. Okay? And bring the 3 down. If you want to do a U try. By the way, if you ever just want to do a U try, you don't have to wait for me to say it. Just pause the video. If you ever like, oh, Mr. Purdy, I want to try something. Yeah, you want the challenge, you want to try it yourself, just pause the video. Absolutely. Kind of thinking up these things as we go. I'm not used to this distance learning. 21 years, haven't really done it. Okay, 9 is 3 and 3, x and x, Middle term is negative, so negative sign and negative sign. Don't make them opposite signs. Opposite signs will give you a negative number here. You don't want that. And then 5 and 5. And ladies and gentlemen, you are done. That is how you factor special types. Okay, couple odds and ends real quick. Please only do and turn in a file that says HW, that says homework on it, please. And always watch the video first before you try to do anything. Email me if you ever have questions. I am hoping that we can go live. Some of the teachers went live and they said it went pretty well. So hoping we can go live on Tuesday for 5th and 7th period and Thursday for 2nd period. 2nd period, I really look forward to you all live. You all have not been live yet this entire time. So I'm wanting to do live. Don't get me wrong, folks. It's just the technology hasn't been working. I've been ready to do live from the get-go, but it just hasn't been working. So cross your fingers. I would love to be able to chat and video and that kind of thing, and teach you the next topic, and kind of go over this in more detail and that kind of thing. So crossing my fingers that we can go live, what they call synchronous learning soon. Remember, if Blackboard's ever down, it's Google Classroom. All right. Love y'all. I will talk to you all soon, hopefully.